Jason Phillips with Ottawa Appraise, ottawaappraise.com, 1947 Series 62 Cadillac convertible. About 6,755 of these cars were made. So while that's more than a Dodge Daytona, no idea why I just compared those two. It's not that many. I'm going to start out underneath the car before we get it outside and run the top up and down and do a test drive on it. This pre-purchase inspection was ordered for an out-of-state client who will be receiving privilege to this video only, and 200 or 300 photos that I took during the inspection and my inspection notes. That's a big block 454 Chevy, by the way, with some pretty cool custom-built valve covers with the Cadillac insignia and a Holly Sniper EFI. Anyway, all this work will be provided to him so he can take a good hard look at the car for what it is and what it's not, and make a decision on whether or not he's purchasing the vehicle, at which time later this video will become public, kind of a commercial for what we do. So if you need service like this, that's my commercial, 800-301-3886. Subscribe to my channel, leave some feedback if you're seeing this. But the car might be sold by the time you are seeing it. So for starters, the trim tag is mounted appropriately on the cowl. And while I'm standing up here, here is really the only major paint chip in the whole car. That needs to be touched up, filled in, and there wouldn't be much to talk about. All right, let me climb under it and let's begin. The car's showing about 2,300 miles, 2,300 and some change since the restoration work was done. Based on the condition of the interior and the underside of the car, I'm going to say that's pretty believable. Still could stand some light detailing down below. I actually took some detail juice in a yellow towel and microfiber and detailed it myself when I got here so I could find any and all scratches and chips, or at least find most of them. Didn't find too much. So we've got a stubbed in square tube cross member welded up to the frame. You can see right in here is where they sectioned in that front end to add this rack and pinion and this billet coilover setup, which looks nice. Tubular control arms. Rack arms are in nice clean shape. All the hardware was changed. All the hardware all around the car, actually, plated hardware was used everywhere. There's a transmission cooler and a power steering cooler. The power steering cooler is here. Tranny cooler is mounted on the floor in the back. Disc brake setup. Rotors are really clean. No evidence of major wear or anything like that. Underbelly pan is nice and clean. All the brackets to the bumpers were repainted. All the lines and wiring was harnessed and put in clips, and a nice job done. These lines from the power steering unit were gathered here with a zip tie, but as a general rule, everything's clipped in really nicely, like this back here. Going to be some background noise as they're moving cars in and out of the building here. I'm not going to go too far into the car because I've just got it stabilized with the jack and no jack stands. Could not get the car on a hoist, although I tried. It wasn't one of the options here. So rolling down the car, I'll head down the rocker panel and the outer frame rail. Frame was finished off in a black POR 15 or similar, brushed on is what it looks like. There's some lines you can kind of see. That's all appropriate. I've done that to my own cars. These bushings and this hardware were all changed. The support bushings for the body all the way through here. You can see all that's nice new stuff. And again, if fuel lines, brake lines all gathered nicely and clipped to the frame rails like they should be. This frame is a proper frame with the X member coming into the center. That's the way it should be on a convertible. Oil pan is super clean. I've been sitting here doing this inspection for over 3 hours, and I don't see anything gathering on the floor underneath me, so that's good news. There's a small couple drips on the inspection cover right there. So there's a little bit of oil seepage at the rear main, but not much. I see a few drips up there on the bolt heads of the transmission, but that could be some of that rear main oil working its way back. Polished stainless exhaust system is really nice, runs down one side of the vehicle. Single exhaust, not dual. And then there's the trans cooler mounted there on an angle, so that'll work out pretty good. But the floors were all painted when the body was apart. You can kind of see that. Separate from the frame, so you know it was all frame off. New wiring, cloth wiring under the hood and all the way back on the car. Leaf springs were rebuilt or replaced. They're in good shape. There we go. Sorry, I wasn't aiming at them. Drive shaft was restored into the tube there. Parking brake was restored. Rear end housing looks like a 9-inch nodular Ford. Positive, couldn't get an ID on it, but it's in good shape and cleaned up nicely. U-joints look like they were replaced. Let me hit the pause button. Fender skirts fit good. I got clearance here. We got clearance. We'll talk about the wheels and tires in a minute. A little bit of cosmetic detailing could stand to be done, but car's driven a couple thousand miles, and that's really what it kind of looks like. Gas tank looks like it was taken out and sorted. Straps have been repainted a different color than the tank. Tank's got a gloss black finish on it. This rear frame rail support's nice and straight and clean. Nothing really to complain about there. It doesn't look like it was ever wrecked. All the hardware and brackets to the bumpers, they were all done nicely. And then we've got a full welded mandrel bent stainless system. Nice exhaust. I haven't heard it run yet, but that's pretty. It's nice. Drum brakes in the rear, disc in the front. We talked about that a little bit. Frame is really nice and clean. Nothing to complain about. And again, this could stand to be just cleaned up a little bit down here, but it's going to get dirty as soon as you drive it. Same thing on the fitment of the skirt over here. This polished trim down low on the fenders is these were done up in rubber in the era, and I think 47 might be the only year they're done in polished and chromed. Rocker trim looks nice. All of the trim on this car looks really nice. And then this side of the floor looks the same. So there isn't much to talk about here that I haven't already talked about. Bushings, again, all nice. Everything's done nice. Bottoms of the fenders are in really good shape. There's a small little mark right there, but I don't think it's a chip. And then there's a little bit of a contact chip on the bottom edge of this door. Probably when they set it, they touched that up a little bit. You can't really see it when you're looking down on it from up here. Just one small little chip right there.